winner here.
Well, one of the great signs of spring Rutledge in the great state of Florida is the running of the Great American Race, which you got to go to last week.
I did. We hit up, went to the Daytona 500 over in Daytona International Speedway. It was very cool. This year is actually the 20th anniversary of the passing away of Dale Earnhardt Sr. So something that they do in Daytona is whenever you have the third lap, everyone in the stands and on pit row will hold up 3 fingers for the entirety of the third lap because that's where Dale Earnhardt passed away. It's in turn 4. Before I talk about that, I actually went with our fantasy winner for the week. He's a good friend of mine. So shout out to Josh Wakely, who won. And what a wild week to start our fantasy campaigns, because there was 2 major wrecks that caused major car pileups, including one on lap 15 and one on lap 198, as well as congratulations to Michael McDowell, who had his very first win of all time. Connor, did you get to see that really big finish?
As you messing me, that was a little past my bedtime, but I know that not only, I mean, that was his first win, right? That's incredible. Your first, I mean, that's like literally your first win being the Super Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
or your first win being like, it's not the title, but I mean, it's pretty much like the title. Like that's huge. That's the biggest race of the year.
It is, and Michael McDowell is actually the 10th person to get his first win at the Daytona 500. But I read this. He had the second longest winless streak of all time. The longest, so 358 starts. The longest was Michael Waltrip, which is 463 starts, who he won. Actually, he won his first race 20 years ago at the same Daytona 500 that Dale Earnhardt passed away. So it's a magical place. But you're
That
right.
it is.
For all of our non-NASCAR friends, the first race in NASCAR, the kickoff, that is, you're right, Connor, is the Super Bowl, where most sports it's at the end.
Any fun stories? I mean, it's there was a lot of fans there, especially in light of, a global pandemic. Any fun stories this year out there?
It was cool. So I've been a race fan since I was a kid. That's been my whole big thing. NASCAR has gone through a bit of a dip where the sport was at its high and pinnacle in the late 90s to early 2000s, even into the mid 2000s. And then it's kind of had a dip. But even with, they usually have 100,000 fans. They had 30,000 because of COVID-19 protocols. The fan base, it's usually your classic people in jorts and a NASCAR t-shirt. There's now a new fan base that started coming. That's like in an event. I will say I saw a lot of mullets and a lot of Americana apparel on the younger fans that were there dressed up and showing out, than more on the classic fans. You still have your people that are, when you think of a NASCAR fan, they're there, but the experience was really cool. They still had all the vendors and everything. If you going to a NASCAR is like going to just a Southern road show. And they give you free t-shirts and give out a bunch of free stuff. But man, it was awesome. It's super fun.
Any
Um,
uh any fun vendors out there? Maybe I know you're a fan of chicken. Any Did you get to eat some chicken?
oh man, I haven't told you. I haven't told you this story at all. The so I am a huge Bojangles fan. To all of our listeners out there, just like we've learned this year that Connor is hairy, I am really into fried chicken at Bojangles. So there's a Bojangles vendor in Daytona. So me and my friends go up to the level that it's on. We walk the whole entire third floor of Daytona Speedway, which is long. We look around, look around, look around. I finally grab someone in a pole. I'm like, hey, where's the Bojangles? Said, I don't like it either, but it's gone. So my normal tradition is to go watch about half the race, get a box of tenders, get some sweet tea, get some Bo sauce, and they were gone. We didn't know what to do, and it had started raining. So we had heard about no Bojangles. The rain increased because the race had like a 5-hour rain delay. So we left. We ended up in a Cracker Barrel. I ate fried chicken there because I just really wanted it. But no Bojangles. Not even Bubba Watson's sponsor, DoorDash, could have solved my problems with Bojangles because there wasn't one close enough. So I was crushed.
I bet. Well, but speaking of DoorDash, I mean, yeah, I know you mentioned the sports kind of gone through a dip and having to go through some evolving pieces. I mean, before you think about Marlboro, cigarettes and Bud Light, whenever you thought about closed wheel racing, but now we got DoorDash. I mean, what do you think that's all about?
I thought that was really cool. It was neat because Bubba Wallace's team that he races on is half owned by Michael Jordan and half owned um, by one of the more recent Daytona 500 champions, Denny Hamlin. And I thought it was really neat that there's a new car with a new sponsor. Someone I was talking to, I said, well, nothing says 2020 like the fact that we were all at home, that DoorDash made so much revenue, they have a racing team. And that person made a point of, well, when 2 Big Macs on DoorDash is $40, of course they're going to have that NASCAR money. But it's good to see new sponsors in the race. You're right, Connor. Some classic ones I loved were McDonald's. STP is famous because of Richard Petty, Goodwrench because of Dale Earnhardt, Budweiser, Dale Earnhardt Jr. So it's good to see different sponsors. My favorite one was, have you ever heard of the shampoo Mane and Tail?
You mean one of the shampoos that's in the shower in the Bourne residence? Yeah, I've heard of
Yes.
it.
Mane and Tail is a NASCAR sponsor. They have a 00 car. I can't remember his name, but we cheered for the Mane and Tail as it went around the track. So when you do your fantasy lineup, I feel like when we get to mid-season and you got to save your good drivers for the end of the playoff, you need to pick Mane and Tail.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I always need to pick Mane and Tail. Maybe have try to get an exception. Because
Yeah, maybe.
I own Mane and Tail. So like I kind of
I
need
did not
to
know
get,
this. I mean, that explains the locks of Born Love are Mane and Tail.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So any other parting words here on the NASCAR front? It was really fun to kick off the fantasy season. Excited for a good fantasy season in NASCAR. Should be a lot of fun. But any other parting Daytona thoughts?
I'm really excited to see what this season is going to look like. NASCAR has added a lot more road courses, including where they will race this weekend is at Daytona International Speedway on the road course. And Connor and I are going to pick a pole winner later on in the show. But there's also Charlotte has what's called the Charlotte Roval, which is their road course. So it's good to see that the sport's doing a little different. With it's not just all short to medium track racing of all just left turns of the bad vibe they get, but there seems to be some new life back into NASCAR, and it's exciting to see. So
Nice.
can't wait.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well,